What's going on, guys? It's Purple Coin Podcast. Purple Podcast.
Purple Podcast.
I haven't done one of these in so long that Purple Coin Plus has come out since
He was
then.
going to say Purple Coin Plus.
I was going to say Purple Coin Plus.
Yeah, I could tell it by the inflection on his voice because he always uses the same one whenever he says Purple Coin Plus.
Yeah.
But no, it's Purple Coin Entertainment, and we're doing a Purple Podcast.
Yeah, on like Spotify and other things, other streaming platforms that you can listen to us available for free.
Yes.
If Logan will ever post them on there.
These are being posted. These new ones, these are going out.
What?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Not the old ones?
Anyway, as you guys can tell by the title, we are
Wait,
talking...
no. I'm not done with it. Hang on, are you going to upload the old ones still? Or no?
No. Okay, look, maybe a few old ones still, but...
Like the best ones.
The best ones
The
are
best
already out.
Oh,
The best ones are basically already out. There's like 7 available on Spotify.
We have
right
7 best ones?
Are there that many?
That's what I said, the best ones and then a few others.
Okay.
Guys, go check out the Spotify.
Well, if they're there, they're here.
Oh.
Probably.
They could be on YouTube.
Keep listening.
Or Anchor, because we're also on Anchor,
So-
unless we haven't.
I mean, that Anchor is the thing that puts us on other...
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were their own separate thing.
Not really.
Separate service? Okay.
Not
does
from
that,
what I
that
gather.
puts on Spotify? What does
Apple
Music?
Music. We're on Apple Music. We're
Wow.
on like some other things that I haven't even heard of.
This episode
Like-
is sponsored by Shadow Raid Legends.
It's Raid Shadow Legends, but we are not sponsored by them.
If you want to give us a sponsorship, we are going to start doing more
Listen,
podcasts. So
if anybody wants to sponsor us for anything, I will shill. I do not
so
care.
hard.
Literally, just give us money.
I'll take $5 and a sandwich from Subway. I do not care.
So how are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah, it's been like a very long time.
hot
I actually
second.
haven't seen Timothy in a while.
So I think
Yeah.
you and I actually did one like at the beginning of the year, and it will never go up because it's
Oh my
already
gosh.
outdated. Like,
Yeah.
and I just didn't get around to putting it together. It was like an hour and a half too. It was
Yeah.
so long.
we just kind of talked about stuff. and
We
it was
just
nice.
talked.
It was nice
we
to
just
just
talked.
talk.
It was nice, but like maybe really like nostalgic for making the podcasts. And I have a better microphone anyway. I'm like, what else do you do with the microphone besides make podcasts and YouTube videos? And
That's like
I've
voice
done plenty of
acting.
YouTube videos, so voice acting would be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get back into that. But here we are podcasting.
Wow.
And I have brought a topic today that I have already told them about, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys, the audience, the listeners, to. It is times in video games in which you have experienced, or we have experienced, like
I mean,
panic
them too.
attacks.
They can
Maybe,
comment
well, yeah, they can't
on
comment.
YouTube.
You can comment on YouTube if you see this on YouTube, which I don't even know if I'm going to put it on YouTube. I was just going to do Spotify and such, but like,
Oh.
anyway.
Or arrange, why don't you?
Maybe we will put it on YouTube. You can
It's
comment
not like you're uploading on Purple
your
Coin
favorite.
anyway.
Exactly. That peaked so bad. I'm
did.
gonna hate having to edit that
how
down.
could you do that to
Pretty
him?
easily,
To
actually.
him. I don't care.
I just opened
Do
my
it again,
throat.
it's funny.
Anyway, so yeah, anxiety from video games.
And it has to be like real, like settled in anxiety. And this actually stems, if you would let me speak for a moment, this stems from something I actually saw on TikTok where this guy set his alarm to be the Sonic underwater, like drowning theme. And he was like having somebody film him before his alarm went off. He was sleeping very soundly, and then all of a sudden, you know the one.
Yeah.
And he woke up in such a flailing panic. It was hilarious to watch, and it made me remember the first time I heard that song. I was like 7 years old. It was at my grandmother's house. She had a Sega Genesis upstairs, the very one you can see on my shelf now.
Me and Zach, not you guys. You guys aren't cool.
Maybe I'll do a tour at some point. You guys can see the real Genesis I have sitting here collecting dust. But yeah, it was at my grandmother's house at the time. My brother and I would go upstairs and we'd play on this old TV. We'd play on it, and like we could actually not get to Chemical Plant Zone for the longest time when we were kids. We just sucked at Sonic so bad. And like I don't know why we would just stop after the boss, because I think we could. I remember losing to the drill thing a couple times, but like, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, we get to Chemical Plant Zone, doing all the loop-de-loops and waves and stuff, and we fall into this purple sludgy water. And I remember being like, I'd never played a Sonic game. Sonic 2 was my first. And I'm playing it, I'm in underwater at this creepy plant, and I'm like, why is my controls so slow? Why am I having trouble moving? And I'm hopping up to the little platforming segment where the blocks are moving and rotating around.
I hate that segment.
Yeah, I'm getting up it, and I'm taking a long time. And I start getting just like this little sense of dread. Start like, what happens if I'm under here for too long? And then I see numbers. and they're just floating there over Sonic's head. And I was like, that's... And I start hearing the music slowly boiling up, just... And it starts picking up speed and getting louder and higher pitched and more intense. And the amount of fear being created in my 7-year-old child baby brain was so intense that, like, I put the controller down and walked away. Tristan was gone. Like, he would play his Tails, but, like, he just, like, at one point we were there, he's like, I'm not doing anything anyway, so he gave up and quit.
Tails
I'm sitting there
probably already drowned like 5 times.
Exactly. And I was sitting there by myself having to deal with this, and it starts making this horrible sound, and I'm just freaking out, and, like, that's just... I just remember being really upset over that. And so that's what spawned, like, this
Just
whole...
watching Sonic drown.
Oh, yeah. I was, like, mortified by that as a child. So it just reminded me that, like, there are times in video games in which, like, it really freaks you out. And it hasn't had to be something creepy, necessarily. It's just something unsettling or upsetting.
Anxiety. Yeah. And, like, even going back and playing that as, like, an adult still creates some kind of... Like, you remember that anxiety. Like, you still kind of feel that.
I don't want to be here. I want to get out of the water.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Who remembers Super Smash Bros. Melee?
Everyone.
Everyone?
Yeah,
sure.
Everyone remembers Melee.
It's a competitive game.
Yeah. A lot of people love that game.
Like 20 years old.
Do you guys remember the story, or not story, the adventure mode?
Adventure, yeah.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in it a time or two.
Yeah.
No, actually, I've not played it very much.
Really?
I don't even think I've finished it.
I used to play it over and over again.
Yeah. Well, there's a part in the adventure mode where you were going through the temple for Zelda.
Oh, the one with all the different paths?
Yeah, and you're underground. When I was young, I was very afraid of, like, zombies and vampires. And you know what are in those caverns?
I know what's in the caverns.
I bet it's Redead.
Redeads.
Wow.
So, when I first played that, you know, I was like, I skipped past all the cutscenes and stuff, because it would pan and show you everything.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a cutscene anyway.
Yeah. And I would just skip through that. So I started going through there, and immediately, I dropped down, and there's a Redead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a Redead is, because I didn't play Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
But then it latches onto me.
That's right. They, like, wrap around you.
And latches onto me.
They make the scream in Melee?
I'm pretty sure they do. I could be wrong, but I just remember...
I would believe it. I just don't remember.
I think that could have been me.
It was just Zach screaming.
But immediately, as it latched onto my character, I dropped the controller, ran over, turned off the game, and I never touched the adventure mode for years. Because it scared the crap out of me. I hate it. The way it just latches on with its lanky body. Its sunken in face.
Yeah.
And just everything about it. Just
I will never forget the first time I saw a Redead in Ocarina of Time. I had the GameCube, like, Master Collection or whatever it was called.
Yeah, I was actually going to get to that.
Oh, yeah. I think that's one that's, like, Zelda fans universally. If you were at a certain age and played, like, Ocarina of Time, the first time you see a Redead, that sticks
terrifying.
with you.
That's actually what my first story was going to be. But
yeah.
Now I'm going to have to change it.
You can still tell it. You can tell the specifics. We can all share our first Redead story.
Yeah. Well, because shortly after that, I had a friend who had a 64.
Uh-huh.
Ocarina of Time.
Oh, wow, really? I'm looking for that.
So, and he's further into the game, so it's not like I was starting from the beginning.
Okay.
I'm starting...
As an adult?
As an adult.
Ah.
So, you know, I run outside.
Oh, no.
And the first thing I encounter is a Redead. And I panic, because definitely in that one, it shrieks at you. And
it freezes you.
And it freezes
you. Like, you cannot move.
Yes.
And it just slowly is walking towards you and screaming.
So it was even worse that time, because I couldn't...
You didn't tell me these were in this game! I know you!
So imagine the fear of a young Zach.
I haven't seen you in 3 years. Not since the basement of the temple in Melee.
Already terrified of these creatures, and they're somehow worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're so much worse.
So yeah, immediately after that, after I was frozen in shock like Link from the screen.
Yeah.
Just... that my nightmare has now reared its ugly head in front of me again.
In 3D.
In 3D. It was already in 3D, but even more in 3D.
More 3D.
And, just hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it absolutely.
I'm sure.
And yeah, gotten over it now. But every single time I've played Melee, which hasn't been a lot, but every single time, and I go back to that stage, I remember that, and I'm like, yeah, I still feel it. Like, I'm not scared of it anymore, but I remember how I used to feel.
Oh yeah.
When I was playing it, and how anytime I decided to play it, there was one path that you could take.
Yeah.
That you didn't have to experience anything. You immediately run off and drop down, and towards the bottom, there's another opening, and you go down there, and it leads you to a section.
Mm-hmm.
And if that section was not the part that got you through that level, I'd turn it off.
Oh.
Because that means that you would have to go through the
to
level
go back to
and
see the
face.
Redead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would go there. If it was there, nope. Turn it off. It wasn't there. Not turn off, but reset the adventure mode. And yeah, that's my first anxiety-induced story from video games.
So the Redead is not my first, because I didn't play Ocarina of Time until I was like, I don't know, like maybe 10, 11 or so, maybe a little older.
That's still at a good age to be scared.
Yeah, it's still
but like it wasn't my first like.
I think I was like 7 or 8 with that Melee story.
Yeah.
So I mean, you aren't far off.
But I would say like the Redead was the first like actually like thing that probably is supposed to be scary that made me freak out, because like my first experience with it was like when you're like you go down into the grave.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. I know where we're going with
and
this one.
Yeah, and like I don't know, little me was just like, oh, this is already creepy, because like the graveyard just went dark for absolutely no reason, and lightning just struck, and now I'm going. But I didn't expect. I was like, this is a Nintendo game. It's not going to have anything like horrifying down here. But like just the atmosphere and like the music was just like
it's just low tones,
low
right?
tones, yeah. Like that already freaked me out. I walk in and I see like
they're just standing
there, and I was like, "Is that a statue?" And next thing I know, like that.
Oh no, the audio. Oh no.
It's accurate though.
Oh no.
It's accurate though. I was terrified. Next thing I know, this thing is on my back.
Yep.
And doing things.
Yeah.
And 10, 11, 12-year-old me is just freaking out. And I just like sprint like through like I was like, I just gotta get away from these things. And I'm like sprinting in like the poison and stuff that's in that room. And I died in the poison.
Yeah. Oh, because it drains you of your health.
Yeah.
Or the Redead drains you and then you stepped in. Okay, yeah.
Well, I stayed in the poison.
Oh,
they weren't in the poison.
They weren't in the poison.
This is how I get away. I'm dying, but at least I'm not with them.
I thought this was gonna go to Dead Hand.
Oh, Dead Hand, but like was also freaky. But I saw Dead Hand, like pictures of it, before I ever actually encountered it.
I did not.
So I was more prepared for it.
I was older though.
When I was too. I didn't actually make it to Dead Hand until I had played the 3DS remake.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like 14, 15 years old.
Dead Hand is honestly the freakiest
it still freaks me out.
Freaky though.
It is the freakiest thing in Zelda. By far, like creature wise, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, was that your story, or did you have another one that you would?
Well, we can totally tell more, but I think we can just pass it around, because I was gonna say, so that was like the moment that like made me remember like I wanted to share this with you guys, like make this podcast because of the Sonic drowning thing. But it's actually on a same theme, but something that has stuck with me really hard. A real like anxiety. I'm not necessarily what I would call claustrophobic, but if I'm in a tight space for too long, I start to feel that way. I start getting a little panicky and uncomfortable.
I think that's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, like, so, and like, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way, but video game claustrophobia, when like you just are stuck in a game.
Yes.
And like you're in a small area and you cannot figure out what to do next. And you're like bouncing around a small room or something, and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? And like sometimes it gets you so stressed out or frustrated that you either quit playing the game or you just sit there and rage while you're trying to figure out.
That actually just happened to me. I was playing Final Fantasy R.
Okay. So
and there's a part where Aerith goes into the orphanage and you just walk around the town.
Yeah.
I thought that there was something that you had to do in the town. And I was walking around aimlessly for so long.
And it can be a big area too.
Yes,
it's like sometimes, but the thing is there's a boundary. Like open world games or whatever, you'll eventually bump into something to do. But in a boundary, even if it's a big boundary, you can get really frustrated.
Yeah. because there wasn't any objective. It was like, goal, look around town. And I had walked around that town probably
I know exactly what part you're
5 or
talking
6
about.
times.
Right after you come out of the slums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do I do? And I was getting heated. And I normally don't get mad at video games.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was like, calm down. It's like something's going to happen. But I could feel myself getting hot.
Yeah. I know exactly what you
I
mean.
had to get up from my chair, just walk for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I need to chill. Because there's nothing that's really going on. There's nothing that I should be frustrated about. It's just I need to figure out what to
And you
do.
just start not being able to think either because you've been thinking so hard, and then you just start getting flustered, and you can't make good decisions anymore because you're
That
upset.
was literally my entire playthrough of the first Kingdom Hearts game.
Like
Every area, I would get lost and start having that claustrophobic feeling. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? I feel like I've been everywhere. Traverse Town was bad. Little Mermaid area freaking sucked.
I know exactly what you mean.
That was like, it was also like I got lost, but it was also underwater, which is already just 10 times worse.
Let me take it from here. I am playing Assassin's Creed Black Flags. There's a part where a ship crashes into a dock that you're on, and you fall under the wreckage, and you're actually trapped underwater below a bridge in a sinking ship. You have a timer in the corner because you have to get out.
Yep.
You have no weapons. You've just lost your assassin. I forget exactly what happened, but he just basically lost all of his weapons. It's like the equivalent of a superhero being without their superpowers at this moment or whatever. Because I just remember already feeling powerless, and then you get trapped under all this stuff collapsing. You're underwater from the beginning of the end of this cutscene. This cutscene ends, and then gameplay, you're underwater trapped under a bridge. You have to find a way out. And it's a small thing on the screen. And the camera doesn't really move. You have one thing to look at. Mm-hmm. And I'm swimming around. I'm diving. I'm trying to do everything I can. And about a whole minute passes. And I'm like, I cannot figure out what to do. I start just mashing buttons, swimming around, trying to figure out anything that would move, that would highlight or something. Nothing's lighting up. Nothing's telling me what to do. I do not know what to do. I feel myself stop breathing because I'm underwater.
Yeah.
I'm relating to the character and I'm drowning right now. And I'm like,
you are dying right now.
I'm underwater. I can't breathe. And I'm trying to remind myself, I can breathe. I can breathe. I was actually playing, Jordan was watching me play through this game. She's sitting next to me and she's just kind of watching, also looking around. She would kind of sometimes help point out things that I might be missing. She's looking for me, and she doesn't see anything. I'm I don't know what to do. I'm getting really nervous. I'm
Stop having a panic attack.
I started getting really hot, we were talking about. I start sweating. I'm noticing my breathing is getting really short, or I just stop at one point. I'm holding my breath because I'm so nervous that I'm gonna drown here because I don't know what to do. And then it starts turning red. The screen starts slowly turning red. It really, really slowly. I start seeing borders. And then it zooms in a little bit.
That's one of the worst
and then it puts a
things.
little bubble around me.
Yeah.
And then it zooms in. And then it starts, the whole screen starts turning red. And the screen will shakes and rumbles a little bit. And my character starts flailing more and more. And he's getting upset, physically uncomfortable. And the music starts getting drums and stuff. And I'm on the verge of an actual mental breakdown at this point. And then it just happened. And he drowns. And I let out this big... Because I don't know how long I was holding my breath. I don't know how long that went by. It felt like an eternity. And that last little bit, I was drowning with him. And then he drowned, and I drowned. and then, but in that moment, it was also a little bit of relief because I knew I got to start over from the beginning. And I had already explored most of my options and started having an idea where, there has to be an exit in this area. And it only took me, 20 seconds in the next one to get out. Because I had basically eliminated everything that definitely didn't work. Mm-hmm. And I was almost mad that I figured it out so quickly the next time. But I realized, at the time I couldn't rationalize it, but I was it took me that 2.5 minutes to figure this out. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't fast enough to do it. And so it's okay that I drowned there because I needed to, I needed that time to learn this anyway. But at the time you can't rationalize it that way. You're this game just put me in a in a state in which I am physically hurting myself because I can't breathe because I'm so nervous and upset that I can't get out of the water. Mm-hmm. And that is just that one will probably stick with me for a very, very long time. This happened in quarantine. This was way back in 2020, like March of 2020.
Yeah.
And like that has stuck with me so hard. I
don't think I've ever had a moment where I've like felt like I was in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I gotcha. I know what you're talking about though, and like, yeah, it's terrifying, especially underwater.
Underwater, and like the movement, the swimming movement in that game, it doesn't suck, but it's not great.
Yeah.
And so like I also feel like I'm already fighting the game just to move around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, it was awful. I will never forget it.
So speaking of water,
yeah,
this isn't even for like a particular game or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like in general, deep, dark water, terrifying.
Do not play Subnautica.
I know. Yeah, I know.
I thought that's where this was going. He's like, I played Subnautica.
No, literally just like any game, especially if it's like far away from like land or something. Like if that's an option for a game, I will never do it because that's terrifying. Going out there and just being like, yeah, I have no idea what's out here. And developers love putting stuff for boundaries.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I think in GTA, if you go too far out in the water, a shark just comes up and eats you.
Oh.
And that's terrifying to me.
That's kind of
I
funny.
hate that.
That's actually hilarious.
So scary. So, like, yeah, just in general, water. But for an actual moment, Super Mario Sunshine.
That was literally going to be my next story. Keep taking all my stories.
I'm so sorry. Okay, since that's going to be yours.
No. I'll tell my Subnautica story next.
Okay. Well, so there's two things. So the first one isn't scary. I don't know why I was scared of it, but I was. You know that ship that Bowser Jr. is in whenever he takes Peach?
Yeah.
It's like that little Koopa thing.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I don't know if it was like the bug eyes on it. I don't know what about it was scary to me.
Like the clown?
It's like a smashed Koopa looking like thing.
Yeah, it looks like a smashed Koopa. That boat that he drives to Peanut Park.
Oh, the boat. Okay. Yeah.
For some reason, that boat terrified the crap out of me. I hated it. I hated it so much.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, so I know what you're talking about. Like the actual, like the little bit of like unnervity that it like gave me.
Yeah.
It's the texturing, 100%. It's
I
the
think
weird
so.
angles and like
I think
reflected.
that's what it
I
is.
remember looking at that thing and being so physically offended by it.
Well, I think it's weird too because Bowser Jr., while he's still in the Shadow Mario state, like also does the weird tongue thing where he like extends his tongue.
That didn't even mess with me.
I don't know.
But,
I thought
like,
that was weird.
Anytime I play that game and I got to that part, I was so freaked out by it.
Yeah.
It's just like something with its face.
I think it's like a visual like cringe because of like this the way it's rendered and textured.
Yeah, I have no idea. But when I was a kid, that scared the crap out of me. I hated it so much. Anytime I saw it, I actually got scared. And when I walked over there, I would be like just waiting for the cutscene to end, so it would be gone. But yeah, the actual scary part for Mario is that freaking eel that you have to clean its teeth.
The big goofy eel from Mario Sunshine.
No, I agree with Zach. It's horrifying.
It is not horrifying.
When you have a fear of just like creatures in the water, and you're a kid, and that thing can just eat. It just rises up and just eats you.
You guys obviously didn't play Mario 64 first.
Terrifying.
I didn't.
I played Mario 64 as a kid, and that eel freaked me out. And like the one in Mario Sunshine is just goofy by comparison.
No,
it's just silly looking.
It's so scary when it's coming up and eating you, and you're just in the water. You're in the depths.
I know what you mean.
I think any of the Mario eels are scary, but like
the
my
more
first
modern
scary
ones
eel
are,
was
even less so.
I never beat that level.
Did you see the Odyssey ones?
Oh, I forgot the Odyssey ones.
The Odyssey ones are horrifying.
The Odyssey ones look more like the ones from 64.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking of the ones from Mario Kart 8.
Oh,
they're dopey looking.
Yeah.
They look like the one from Sunshine.
No,
they do.
No, they don't.
They totally
They
do.
actually don't.
They don't though.
That's the thing.
But yeah, so that I never beat that level, which means I never beat Sunshine because.
Wait, really?
Really?
You've never beat that level?
Oh, I mean now.
Wait, you
now
didn't have to beat that level.
Oh.
Yeah, you said never. You're like, I never beat that level.
Sorry.
I just can't do it.
When I was a kid,
the dopey eel is still too much for 25-year-olds.
When I was a kid, I never beat that level. I have beaten Sunshine. It's a great game. I love it. But yeah, I just never beat.
Whoa! I didn't say hot takes today. We're just doing.
Shut up.
I think we all love Sunshine
Yeah.
here. It's just that most people don't.
I would do everything else in the game, but that level, never would beat it, never would touch it, never would go near it, because I hated going into the water and fighting that eel.
The Ghost Hotel always left me unsettled feeling, but it never freaked me out like the eel did.
Ghost never scared me. Never. In anything, I was fine. But
anything. Did you play Luigi's Mansion?
Oh, Luigi's Mansion actually filled me with dread as a kid.
Literally, I don't even remember his name. The guy that ate a lot of food, like the huge one.
He was freaky. Yeah.
I don't know why that guy scared me so bad when I was younger.
That guy scared me too.
Just being in the room with him made me so uncomfortable. I hated it.
Yeah. Just the portrait ghosts in general were just pretty freaky.
A lot of them were. Some of them were kind of silly and fun. But, man, the baby freaked me out. Yeah, for sure.
That was freaky.
Yeah, that's my Mario Sunshines that I was scared of.
Yeah.
Subnautica, I think, is the only game that's ever made me feel like I'm about to have a panic attack.
Oh, no.
That I can think of. So I was playing survival mode for quite a while, and it was getting to a part where I was just getting so frustrated because I wanted to explore deeper, and I just couldn't because I couldn't figure out how to upgrade my stuff, and it was taking too long. And then I realized there was the free mode where you could just explore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. I can actually just go explore. That was a mistake. I got in a sub. And I tried to go as deep down as I went, and the further, the deeper I went, the more I felt my heart closing in on my chest, it was.
So your body was really thinking. You're like, oh, I'm headed this far underwater. The water pressure, it should be crushing me right now. So
that's how it felt.
I'm being crushed.
Well, that's how it felt. But not only that, the further down you go, the darker it gets, and it just keeps getting darker and darker. And then next thing you know, just out of nowhere, you'll see this giant freaking fish just come out of nowhere and just start. Oh my gosh.
Leviathans?
The Leviathans. I ran into several. Didn't even know I was going to see them, and
I got
freaked me out.
Jump scared by one of the early game gar looking fish. They hiss at you.
Oh, yeah.
And I was swimming through the seagrass, and all of a sudden I heard and I was all like, ah!
Ow. Yeah, no. Subnautica is the first game that ever made me feel panicky.
Oh,
I
man.
feel but the first actual, I guess, anxiety-inducing moment in a game for me was actually in Sonic Heroes.
Okay.
That was the first video game I ever played.
Oh.
And it was the second Sonic game I ever owned. But I used to play it at my cousin's house, and we'd get to the Frog Forest levels.
Okay.
And at the second level...
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The giant alligator.
Yes.
And you're swinging from vine to vine, and there's that one vine that is not timed
it just
to
doesn't work.
It doesn't
just
work.
doesn't work.
So there's one vine that's just a little bit shorter than the other one. So all the other ones you can time it and jump just right. But there's another one that's a little higher up and it's shorter, and you have to, when you get to that one, you have to jump a little bit sooner, and it throws your rhythm off. It's just giant freaking alligator just chasing trying to eat you. I mean, it's freaking massive.
And it comes out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
You're just playing the level and you're doing your thing, and then you get on these things and you start going, and then all of a sudden just gator, and it's just what?
Yeah, that was the first moment I ever felt anxiety from.
I don't think I ever got that far in Heroes.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Heroes.
I don't really care for Heroes that much.
Yeah.
I'll beat it someday.
That part, was always
understandable.
Yeah.
So this is kind of similar. Did you guys ever play BanjoKazooie without a blindfold on?
Yeah. I played a little bit.
Yeah, besides the time with the blindfold, yes,
Yeah,
I did play it.
Did you get to the second world?
I've gotten pretty far into that game. So.
Okay, so in the second world, it's tropical.
I accidentally skipped the second world.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
What?
Maybe I didn't.
I don't think you can. I think you need to meet music notes to get...
Well, I completed everything in the first world. I got everything I possibly could.
Yeah, and then you quit. That'd be understandable.
Well, I didn't... I guess I did quit. But I got to whatever the next area was.
It's like a tropical... like a beach, kind of place.
Yeah,
it's like a beach.
Maybe.
So when you're in the hub world there, if you hop over the aquatic platforms, a little shadow appears right below you when you're over the water between the platforms. If you hover over the water or even get into the water for too long, the shadow grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and you start hearing Jaws music start playing. And man, I did not know that would happen. I saw a little silhouette the first time. I was like, that's weird that it gets so dark when I hop over the water. What happens if I just hang out over the water for a little bit? And I pushed myself to the very edge of a platform, and then the silhouette showed up, and I was like, that's weird. And it got bigger, and I was like, that's really weird. And then I started hearing the bottom, and the bottom, and I was like, that sounds kind of freaky. Then it's just like chomping noises, like starts splashing out of the water, chomping around, and I was just like, wait, what? No one. There's a shark, and like it's a big shark, and if it touches you, it eats you whole, and it kills you. So yeah, it's frustrating. It's
Pirate Bay, or Treasure Cove.
Treasure Cove. Yeah,
it's not that big.
It seems big.
Okay, I think you need to go back and replay it.
Because I'm pretty sure it eats you whole.
It does not.
Really?
No, it just deals 1 damage. But yes, it is terrifying.
It's scary though.
It's absolutely terrifying. Especially if it's your first time playing it and you have no idea. Because, everywhere else besides that,
man,
you've been fine.
I was in high school. I was older by the time I played it. I was like 17 or 18. I had just gotten to like a pawn shop, and they had this physical cartridge of BanjoKazooie there. It was like $20. I was like, yo, BanjoKazooie, I have a 64. I grew up on Bomberman 64 and Mario 64, like playing those games all the time on my 64 in my room. And I was like, BanjoKazooie is one of the classics. I gotta have it. So $20, no problem. That game's like $80 now or something. It's I don't know. I don't think it's that much.
Crazy.
It's like 40 or 50, but still, like, old games are expensive. That's another conversation. But yeah, I'm just like, Banjo, $20. I took it home, played it for a couple days, and finally I get to that part, and I love the beach. I love the ocean. I'm not even really scared of sharks IRL, but like, that video game sharks or just like media sharks, it's so different, especially when there's like that music and sound effects accompanying it. Like, sharks don't behave like that, so you don't expect them to behave like that. I don't know, like, I think the average person at this point would expect them to behave like that at this point, but I'm naive. I'm a naive little science boy, and I'm like, they don't do that. Why would a shark start chasing after me?
In Pac-Man World 2, in the water levels, there's literally a level called Shark Attack, and there's a bunch of sharks in that level. And, like, you have to pass them, and every time you pass them, you can hear them sniff you, and then they like, dart at you and try to eat you.
Oh, wow.
And it's... Like, I don't know, they're really goofy looking, like, it's not really that scary, but, like, it is kind of, like, anxiety when you have to pass them, you just hear the, and then it just...
Now that I think about it, I don't even think the shark in BanjoKazooie looks scary. I think it's got, like, a big pointy nose.
He's really
like,
not.
Yeah, like...
But it's like, whenever you first encounter it, this thing just shows up and starts attacking you in the water.
Yeah.
And you don't have great controls.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, shoot.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary,
Right, yeah. I can actually think of something more modern that's not shark or alligator being chased or whatever or eaten related. So we actually were playing Kirby Forgotten Lands on ProCoin Plus recently, and we beat the original Wastelands or whatever, and we're like in this castle. We just beat DDD, and we're all chilling, and we're like, woohoo, we did it! We're kind of thinking that's like kind of it for DDD, and we're gonna move on with the story. And, like, the screen just kind of freezes on the, like, victory screen. And I was like, that's weird. Yeah. Why is it doing that? And then in the corner, like, DDD's, like, shaking. And I was like, what? And then he gets up while we're still on the victory screen. The amount of just, like... It's not, like... It's, like, this weird sense of dread, really. It was, like, I can't explain it any other way. I'm like... I knew nothing, like, terrible was about to happen. I'm like, it's Kirby. Well, I don't know. Kirby's crazy. But I was like, this is weird. I can't react. I'm mashing buttons. Me and Zach are like, yo, Kirby, turn around! Yeah. We're pushing buttons. And DDD's just stomping up behind us all slowly, like, and I'm like, what's happening? And he snatches up Elfilin. But, like, it was crazy. I've never seen a video game do that to you. Like, or,
Yeah.
Because on the victory screen.
Yeah, on the victory screen.
Yeah,
so, like,
it's
using the game's mechanic to mess with you. And, like, it's really smart on the creator's part. I loved it. It's so creative,
we all need to go in together and get Eternal Darkness on the GameCube and, like, blind play it.
Oh! What's really crazy? I beat myself up over? That game sat at the Walmart across, like, just down the road. It sat there for the GameCube. They had like 3 copies of it and a copy of Fire Emblem. I will never forget seeing those games.
Wait,
sitting there.
Recently?
No. Years and years ago.
I was about to say what?
But it was like it was like 8 years after the GameCube was like essentially like rotated out. I remember, like I was old enough obviously that I'm remembering like trips to Walmart, and I remember seeing that they were the only GameCube games left on the shelf. There was 1 copy of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance or whatever it's called. It's the red one. And then there were 3 copies of Perfect Dark, and Perfect Dark was rated M, so like I wasn't allowed.
Eternal Darkness.
Oh, I'm thinking of Perfect Dark.
I don't know.
I don't know what Eternal Darkness is.
Eternal Darkness
I know what
is the
Eternal
game that
Darkness is.
Maybe it was that
uses
one.
the game's mechanics to mess with you.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Like there's literally I've never played it. I've not seen anything of it, but I know that there's a part where it truly convinces you that it has erased your game file.
What?
It actually
I didn't know that.
convinces
Yeah, I wish that you didn't tell them that, because that would have been great if we did end up playing it someday.
When are we going
Yeah, we're probably
I
not
would
going
buy
to do
it
that.
right now.
I'm not much of an emulator guy. I don't like to do that. I love having
No, I'll buy it.
physical
I'll buy
stuff.
it right now.
Yeah.
I really want that game a lot. I really want to try it out because that's what the
I
whole
didn't know that.
that's the whole basis of the game is
Anything
it
would
uses its mechanics to just
Yeah,
really
just
trip
mess with
you up. Yeah.
That's crazy. That reminds me of, like, I've heard people tell stories. I wasn't much of a PlayStation kid, but I've heard people tell stories of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, I think it does the same thing.
Psycho Mantis. He does something similar. So he'll look at the screen directly. He doesn't look at Snake. He looks past Snake and looks at the screen, and the camera follows him, and he's looking at you, and he says, "Oh, I see you're a fan of this video game," and it'll pick a random game off of your memory card.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, he's like, "Oh, I see you like this. You spent a while playing it," or like he can see your save data and stuff, and he'll make comments based on the games you've played and stuff.
He erases that save data.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does. He acts like he's erasing the save data.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I do remember like hearing people talk about like that he like addresses the player and
That's
starts
so
talking about
cool.
the games that they've played and how long they've played them and that kind of stuff, and like that would mess with me.
Games
That's
need to
crazy.
still do that. I wish they still did that.
You ever play Doki Doki?
No.
Literature Club?
No, I've heard that it does some weird things though.
Yeah. That's like the most recent game I can think of.
Yeah,
that did
there's
something like
a
that.
few that still do stuff like that. I think the new like kitchen game that it was on Game Theory recently. He was talking about. I don't know what it's called, but
Okay.
I think it did something like that. But yeah.
I guess a lot of like indie games.
Yeah, a lot of it. Well, see, indie games keep a lot of those like fallen genres alive because that's the thing. Like the AAA developers have done that, and they've moved on. They're trying to do something new, and like indie developers, not that they don't like. Definitely, indie games have progressed the medium as well.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
but like, there's a lot of other indie games that try to recapture the magic of older games, and that's what I love about indie. Is like, I don't necessarily play indie games to like advance the medium. I want to play games that I don't get to play anymore, like or styles that I don't get to play anymore because none of the big companies want to make them. But it's people that kind of like us that love these older ones and they want to play. They want to make them again. I just wish they would make them
Bug
well.
Fables
Sometimes
is just Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
It's so good.
See, exactly stuff like that.
It's so good.
I felt like I had another thing for the anxiety topic, but for some reason it has just like
I have
escaped
one
me.
more.
I love that most of our stories weren't from horror games. Like, we've actually had all this dread and fear from games that I was really worried I was gonna like bring up this topic and like not necessarily like you guys necessarily. I thought like all of us would just slip into I was scared by this horror game.
Yeah.
Well, good.
I think I've only played like one horror game
Oh,
besides like Five Nights at Freddy's,
Oh.
which we've played like.
Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't want to go into horror games because the thing is, like, those are supposed to.
That's what I'm
create
saying.
dread.
Yeah, that's
like
why
the
I was
whole.
worried.
I feel like the point of this was more like games that you weren't expecting to feel
Totally
dread and
was.
horror
That's
in,
exactly
and
what it
it's
was.
like you did. And
Yeah.
I think when it comes from companies like Nintendo, who are known for making the kid-friendly
Yeah.
stuff, and then like all of a sudden you've got Redeads and Dead
Yeah.
Hands eating
See,
you. And
like we didn't really even like talk about like jump scares, which like I didn't really want to talk about like jump scares or like times you were just like scared for a moment. I really wanted to touch on things that we did get to where you're like just sitting there in your fear.
Yeah.
Because I could think of tons of jump scares and like games
I've
that
got
aren't necessarily scary. But
many of horror
speaking
games.
of horror games, where like you said Five Nights at Freddy's. It was actually FNaF 2 was my first FNaF game, and that's where they introduced the marionette. And I didn't know anything about it when I was playing the first time because they don't do a good job of explaining the rules. Like the phone guy or whatever does a little bit. And he said something about like make sure you keep that box wound up. And I was just like,
What
do.
box?
And I would hold the little button down. And I found it, and I was
yeah.
like, I didn't really even think about it after that. I was like, okay, it's just a little box. I paid for that.
Yeah. You would.
And like, so anytime playing that game after the very first time I'm getting jumped by the marionette, I couldn't play FNAF 2 anymore because I was always thinking about, I have to wind the box, and like, I'm not good at multitasking, and so I was always so scared that I was gonna like like forget the box, or that I would open the box, wind it up, and then like be pulled out to be jump scared. So I just stopped.
I can't play FNaF 4 anymore.
Oh,
FNaF 4
really?
freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because you have to listen to audio
Yeah.
cues. And, like you, like, most of the FNaF games, like, if you mess up, you know you're about to get jump scared.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it. FNaF 4, you don't.
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. You
that's
don't
a good
know.
one. You know, that's actually a good one to talk about. You know, because that's not one where it just relies on jump scares necessarily. It really, you do sit there in like an atmosphere of just fear and dread for the whole game,
That's
even
one where
if
you're
nothing's
in the room,
happening.
right?
Yeah, you're in the like bedroom, and like there's like fake out jump scares too, where like if you open the door and Foxy like snaps at you and he roars, but like you shut it and you're all right.
Yeah.
And then you turn around on the bed and there's all the mini Freddies and all that kind of stuff, and they will kind of come at you a little bit, but they won't get you. The fake out scares, it's a really good horror game actually.
Yeah.
So like I have
Well, even like the mini games in between the nights, like those are very unsettling.
Yeah.
Those are the most unsettling cutscenes in any FNaF game, I think.
I'm trying to remember which ones those are.
Those
Those are the playable ones, aren't they? Where you're the, like, crying kid.
And like there's always jump scares in those too. Like the brother jumps out at you one, and then there's like the whole like, was that the bite of 87?
That's right. That's at the end of the game.
Like that whole thing was just very unsettling. And then like the little Fredbear like sitting there like, I will put you
Staring
back
at you.
together, and
Yeah.
like it's
Well, he always stares at you when you
his
move
eyes
on
follow
that.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that part was
that
creepy.
whole game is unsettling. And then that game I can't play it. It freaks me out.
I've actually played a handful of horror games, but like honestly, most of them haven't scared me because the horror genre is more of like an action genre. Where, like you can almost always defend yourself.
Yeah.
And like it's not even just defend yourself. Like I played Resident Evil like a couple years ago, Resident Evil 4 specifically. I played a couple other ones, but it's really just like there's a monster, go kill it, you know, and you see lots of monsters. It's like sometimes it's like unnerving, a little unsettling, especially like in 4, like it starts getting like body horror towards the end. There's like weird, creepy, like half alien mutant dudes. I don't know, they're gross, but it's not like it's not necessarily scary for like the like fear and shock. I mean, it's like shock value. It's like what do they call it? Like gore. Shock or whatever. So it's supposed to make you uncomfortable in that sense, but I don't remember genuinely being scared by it.
I think it's because you're expecting to be scared in a horror game.
Yeah, that's also true. Well, okay, I can't play Outlast.
I was about to bring up Outlast. I was like, game you can't defend yourself.
Played it. I've played Outlast. I can manage to play it for all of about an hour, and after an hour, like once you like really started getting into things, I just can't do it anymore.
Are we gonna play this on Kirk One
Plus? See, I've been debating with myself for a while whether or not I'd actually want to play it again, like give it another shot, especially since it's a sequel. And like everyone says, it's like some of the best horror games, like some of the best horror games out there, 1 and 2. And but I don't know, like I just physically cannot handle it. I get to a point where I stop touching the controller. I put it down and I'm like, okay, I've played enough. I'm done forever. Not anymore.
Now we're gonna play it. Now we're gonna play.
You're just mentioning Resident Evil 4. This is so off topic, but like as the time of this recording, the Sony State of Play just happened, and they just announced a remake for Resident Evil 4.
We actually just watched the trailer.
I want to see that, or I want to play it.
They didn't show anything of it.
I want to play it so
bad. They
bad.
didn't show. Have you played the original Resident Evil 4?
I love Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah,
that's like gotta be in my top 10 favorite games.
It's a really good game. It's really solid.
I love that game.
The remake.
It's coming out on PS5 though.
Yeah,
let's go.
It has potential to be in my top
PS5 scrub.
Nope.
Because that one is good, and if this one's remade really well, it has potential to be in my top 10. Maybe not top 5. But me and Zach were actually talking though afterwards. We just watched the trailer a little bit ago. I'm kind of concerned they're doing like a Final Fantasy VII R thing with it, where it's like not exactly the same game again, and then like time travel or something of the sort.
There is something like some of the cutscenes and stuff that they showed. It was like, that
and he was like, I wish I could take it all back and do it again or something. I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but I want to play it because I love Resident Evil 4. It is such a good game.
All right. Anybody have any more stories? I think
Resident Evil 4 is actually my last one.
Oh, was it?
Oh. Yeah.
Do you have?
Well, you were talking about like the little white blobby dudes towards the end of the game that like you have to use like the infrared
I was talking
scope.
about like the guys when you hit them and like they have the big thing that comes out of their head, like the alien, like you pop their head off and then like a big like thing comes out with a bunch of legs.
Well, towards the end of the game, there's like these certain enemies. There's not a lot of them, but there's like 3 or 4 that you have to fight, and they're like just these giant white blob monster things, and like they almost remind me of like Dead Hand. Almost.
I think I remember.
Like they're very similar to how Dead Hand looks, and the only way to beat them is to use like an infrared like scope, and you can see the parasites inside of them. There's 5 of them, and you have to use that scope to like pretty much X-ray and shoot them while it's chasing. Because if you shoot it anywhere else, like it's not going to kill it.
Yeah.
The game doesn't tell you that when you first encounter one though, and so like I'm sitting there shooting this thing, and it's like all like dead, and then it like just comes back. I'm like,
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't know that.
No, what?
I didn't know that about the. No, I see. So that's why I didn't know what you were talking about. Like the blobby guy. You're talking about like the ones that are like humanoid and they like limp around or whatever, and if they see you, it makes like a sound and they dash at you and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that about like the parasites specifically. I just shot at them until they died.
You just got lucky.
I shot at them until they exploded. Like, because I was like, I noticed that like I would like blow like limbs off and they would regenerate them and then like come at me again, and I was like, what?
They explode after you kill all the parasites.
And it doesn't tell you that. So like I just like I had a machine gun at that point.
Would just unload on.
I would unload an entire clip like into these dudes until they died.
You just gotta equip the scope and then you can like physically see the parasites.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
I wouldn't be able to. I was too scared. You're in little hallways and they're chasing you around. Oh my.
No, it's hard. It's horrifying.
Yeah, no, I would just and if that didn't work, I would just run past them and keep going.
Well, you see, what makes them easy is like if you hit one parasite, it stuns them. And then you've got time to
blow
hit
their
the
legs off and they can't even move well anymore. They just like crawl around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my last like fear, because like before I knew about the scope, I was just like,
no, I never knew that. That's funny.
Now you know an easier way to beat them.
There you go. Whenever you play the remake.
When I play the remake, I'll have unless they change it up and they're like, no, do something
right.
different now, because everybody would be expecting to do that now. And so when you get to that point, they're like, nope, we changed it. Now you don't know.
Now you don't have a scope.
Now you have to blindly guess.
Yeah, or just unload a whole magazine on them.
Yep.
All right. I think that's it.
Golfer's Weekly magazine.
Do you think
All right. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this podcast.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
All right, let me just talk over me while I'm doing the outro. That's all cool.
Think about doing more.
That sounds fun.
I love doing these.
I like talking over Zach.
I think we'll do more of these.
We should
do more podcasts.
Yeah.
I have a couple more ideas that I really want to share with you guys. And you were a good I don't know, guest. You were a good guest today on my podcast. Thank you very much. I'm just messing with Zach at this point. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you in more videos on Purple Coin Plus. Working on a couple ideas for Purple Coin Entertainment, but we'll get back on that.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
If you can even do that, or make
utterly
sure to follow
obliterate
us on
that bell so that you know whenever we upload new uploads.
Like I said, we're on Spotify now. We're on Apple Music and a couple other things. Other things. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next. We won't see you.
We won't see you. We don't want to see you. We might.
Click on more of our stuff.
Don't come to our house, please. That'd be weird. Okay, we're gonna go now. Bye.